Ah, cool. Really. Okay, before I begin, can you please raise your hand if you're more comfortable in English than in French? Okay, cool. So let's go with English. All good. Uh, Hi, everyone. Well, we want to be inclusive here, so hi, everyone. Yeah, you can see my screen. All right. My name is Maud. I'm an engineer at Chrome. And today I will tell you a little bit about client-side AI, which means smart APIs right in your browser. So thank you for joining. I hope you get something out of this, and I'll run through a little demo and tell you what we've built here at Chrome. Right. Okay, cool. So first of all, demo time. I'll show you a bunch of slides later, but I prefer to show some code and how things work. So let's go with that. Can you see my screen? Yes, good. So this is the demo here. First, I'll show you probably. I think this is the best thing in my demo. It's spinning. I mean, we see disco balls, but this one is spinning, okay? So credit to that. So this is a little album review page. So you can see here like Bee Gees album, which is Saturday Night Fever, which was a big hit, a big disco hit. First song soundtrack on that album is Staying Alive. So I'm sure you all know that one. And here we have a little album review here on the right, and I have opened here my network panel, and nothing's gonna happen there. That's kind of the point, but I just want to make sure you see that there are no network requests involved. So we have the album review here, which is some text in English, and it's kind of a bunch of text. I don't know for you, but I'm lazy to read that. So first thing I will do is go and summarize it. It's gonna take a minute, so you can dance to disco music. It's a little painful. I hope it lands. It's gonna come in a bit. In the meantime, okay, there we have it. Okay, this is a summary. Don't pay attention to the layout, but this is a summary of that text right above here, and you've seen like no network request, so that's pretty cool. The key points are really captured here. Can the last row read the text? Can you read the text? No? Okay. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit, but this is like, okay, this is like key points for that text right above. And as you can see, this is in English, but many people here, I guess in this room, can be also potentially more comfortable in French than English. So it would be cool to be able to translate that. So I'm going to go ahead and translate it. And boom, this is like translated. The model is preloaded, so I'll explain a little bit, but you can see the translation was like lightning fast, no network request, right in your browser, no API key, so it's free. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And finally, we have a yes-no question that's kind of hard-coded, so I'll show you what the question is. But basically, this is to illustrate structured JSON output. This is a yes-no, so true-false question. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and boom, true. Well, this is just so you see that the output is actually a Boolean, but I'll show you in a minute what it is. Cool, so these are Chrome's built-in AI APIs. So I'm going to show you what the code looks like over here. Let's start with what did we start with? Summarize, okay. Cool. Can the last row read the code? Okay. Cool. So first, what I've done here is, you can see the code is really just a couple of lines, and I'm hoping it's going to be quite straightforward. You have here the summarizer object that's available in the browser, so in Chrome in that case. Expected input languages and context languages. Supported languages would be Japanese, Spanish, and luckily French and English. I think at the moment we're working on expanding the range of supported language, but that's where we are. You can also specify a type of summary. So I quite like that feature. Here we went for key points, so basically 3 bullet points, but you could decide to go for a headline, or maybe you want a TLDR, which would be much shorter, or maybe you want a teaser. So you have like these 4 types of summaries to pick from. And then, well, basically you just have this like a asynchronous function, and you can wait for the result. And you are able to also, you can specify some background details about the page. So of course here it's hard-coded, but you can imagine that you could make that dynamic if you wanted to adapt it to your content. And this is whatever, some UI layout details. We don't need to look at that. So that's for summarization. The second feature we've looked at was translation. Let's prompt. sorry, let me go and show you translate. It's really just a straightforward, you have this translator object that you create with a source language and a target language. The supported languages are the same as the one I've shared with you. And here what we've done, which is also available for summarization, but we've done it here for the illustration, is you can translate in streaming. Maybe you've seen when I demoed that the text was popping out like gradually, so you can use that feature if you want, for the user to not feel like they're waiting, but already provide output, a little bit like the chat AI UIs are working at the moment. Here I have like my chunk in the stream, and that's it. Oh, and then I didn't specify, but for the summarization, I'm also using a Markdown like parser tool because what's outputted by the summarization API would be Markdown, so that's why I did that. Finally, the last API is the prompt API. It's really you can really prompt like with, of course, natural language and output natural language. But here, for the sake of the demo and because we like structured outputs, I'm using the structured output like feature for this API. So here, the prompt API is a little bit more, it's a bit more like a look under the hood. Actually, what I didn't explain is that the summarization API, it's a bit of like, it's syntactic sugar around the prompt API. Under the hood, what happens is that the summarization API is going to also create a session, create a language model, and so on. So here I have the schema, which is of type Boolean, and you've seen in the window alert my output, which was a Boolean. Is this a review of a Bee Gees album? The answer is true. So that's what you've seen. Cool. That's for the demo. So I hope it gives you an overview. So now let's explain a little bit what is it that I've just shown. So you've seen it. It's client-side, which means you have no API key to manage, no server round trips. So you could tell it's free. I don't love to say that because it's not exactly free. The user is going to need to download the model, so it's some cost. I will explain a little bit which devices this is supported on, but there's some user-side cost. They need to wait for the model to download and so on. But for you as developers, it's free. I've showed a subset of the available APIs. We have translator, language detector, summarizer, writer, rewriter, prompt, which is really like the catch-all. This is the one you should start with if you really want to learn about these APIs. And proofreader, they're all linked over here. And you can see here a little bit about the availability, including extensions. Extra stuff I've showed, structured output, streaming. We also have multimodal, so there's a demo that's linked there. I'll share the slides later. But you can also do, is Tom wearing a hat? So this is just to show the image support. Let's leave it to think and come back in a minute. Okay. Yes, Tom is wearing a hat. It's a green baseball cap with some lettering on it. Okay, sounds good to me. So that's multimodal from the prompt API. Now, which models are we using here under the hood? So for translation, we're using what we call expert translation models. What it actually means is like these are a bit like older translation models that we already had available. But for summarization and the prompt API proofreading, all of these are using Gemini Nano under the hood, which is the smallest model of the Gemini family, which you probably know about from Google. We have two model versions depending on the device this is running on. We have 2B or 4B. This is like the billion parameters. This is not like bytes. This is the number of parameters. And it's Nano, so do not expect Gemini 3 performance. I don't know if you had a chance to take a peek, but the summary is pretty good. But if you want to generate a complex text or analyze very complex images, you should not be doing on device. You should be doing something server-side. I think another presenter shared that before. Smaller models are, smaller, so not as capable. The question is always, are they capable enough for your use case? Cool. Availability in Chrome. So some of these APIs are available in Chrome Stable, which means you can just literally, you don't have to do any setup. You can spin up a dev environment and just call the APIs. And some are not in Chrome Stable. And in that case, if you want to develop locally, you're going to have to turn on some flags. I'll show you. And if you want to push this to prod, you also can do that. What you will need to do in that case is register for an origin trial. And basically what this is Chrome gives you a token. and then you can add this token either in a meta tag in HTML, or you can add it as a header. And then basically Chrome knows that when this origin is hit, Chrome knows to activate this API for your users. So all this to say, all of these APIs you can already try either locally or in the wild with your users if you're a little bit, if you're a little bit, well, on the wilder side and you want to try these new APIs. Cool, so origin trials, okay. Yeah, let me just show you origin trials. So this is the list of basically experimental APIs that you can also ship to your users if you sign up for this origin trial and have this special token somewhere in your website. And otherwise, for the APIs that are, are available directly within Chrome, I should probably show that. So some of them are in Chrome stable, and for others, you will need to turn on like local flags. So you do Chrome flags, and then you can enable these APIs. You have Prompt API, Writer, all of this you will need to enable manually. So that's it for availability in Chrome. And then for tooling, I quite like to show that page because it's nice to see what happens under the hood. First of all, so this is like, you can think of this page as like when a feature is really new and the DevTools team, they haven't had time to implement DevTools support, or maybe the feature is really new and experimental and we're not sure at Chrome that we want to assign a lot of resources to implementing a full-fledged debugging UI. We have internals. You have a bunch of these pages. Everybody has access. You just need to activate this developer mode. Maybe some of you have seen internals before. But basically, you can think of this is like DevTools, but in raw form. So you can see here something that's interesting. This is the device performance class, very high. What Chrome does is it runs a benchmark. The first time I try and use the API as a user, what Chrome does is going to run a benchmark on my machine to kind of check, okay, you want to use the built-in AI APIs, but is your device strong enough? Can it take it? And then it's going to run this benchmark really quickly with empty weights and determine whether whether it's a good idea for you as a user to actually use client-side. And if it's not a good idea, we're not going to do that with you because you're going to have a bad experience as a user. It's going to lag. So device performance very high. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Exactly. Now it's high. Why? Because this is really, the benchmark is run on the fly. So right now, I don't know, my machine was doing something different, and it kind of lowered a little bit the benchmark. So this is just to show you that this is a just-in-time benchmark. And then you have the event logs. So whatever, if I do let's do another yes-no question. Exactly, you can see starting on device session for Prompt API, you can see what happens under the hood. Cool. So that's for tooling. Yeah, don't be like me. The model download takes a little bit of time. So if you were to use that, even for internal testing, it's just courtesy to show a little model download bar, because otherwise people just wait. Not so nice. There's guidance on how to do that here. And now to the most important question. I mean, I know that would be my main question if I was listening to this talk. Okay, cool. But what about browser support? So at the moment, this is Chrome desktop only. So it means this is not going to work on mobile, also not on Chrome on Android. And on top of that, you have additional hardware requirements for the Prompt API and all the APIs that are listed here. So we're also working on standardizing these APIs across browser, because I'm a web developer myself. So if you want to push something to prod and it doesn't work across browsers, it's not a great start. But know that we're working on that. And a way I like to think about these APIs also is, we know AI is all the buzz, and in practice, very few companies are actually successfully shipping AI to their end users. And I think the built-in AI APIs are a great way to test something for free. You can test a feature for free and see how it lands with your users. Some of your users, it's a small set, it's only Chrome desktop users, but maybe it's enough information for you to then make a case to go with a more fully fledged feature and just collect a little bit of information about what's landing well with your users. So how would you make it work everywhere? Well, you're going to need a cloud fallback. So one way to do that is there's Firebase AI, where you can think of that as a hybrid approach, where when Chrome's built-in AI APIs are available, we use that on the device, and otherwise you would go and fall back to cloud. that's one way to look at it. And because there are also non-Google products out there, you can also use the Vercel AI SDK, if some of you are familiar. I really like that because it's a great way to swap around models, whether you work with built-in AI APIs or not. This is really a great way to experiment with different models. And we're currently building a prompt API integration, so this is work in progress, but I've told you today. So cool. We also have a bunch of demos over here. Actually, maybe I can take some time to show you a little bit what we have. So, summary of summaries. One thing I haven't really mentioned is, you know, sometimes potentially you might want to summarize a very long text, and then you're going to hit an issue with the context window. And so if this is what you want to do, you're going to want to like chunk your input text in several smaller bits. And this is an example here of how you would do that. And yeah, check out this page if you're interested in the various things you can do with these APIs. A cool one I like from my colleague who just landed last week. I don't know that I'm going to be able to run it here, but I just wanted to tell you it exists. You can enter a vibe. I see like the org team here has Vibe engineers t-shirts. So you can enter a vibe, and this is going to generate some music alongside. So that was like a fun little demo. So if you want to join the fun, I've shared a little bit. Some of these APIs are available in Chrome Stable. You can try them like zero setup. Some of these APIs are not available in Chrome Stable, but they're going to be available by activating the local flags I showed you for you locally. Or if you want it to be available to your users, you're going to want to opt into the origin trials that I shared. But there's even more. Some of these APIs are not available like at all, except if you join the early preview program. So I've put a link here into the form if you're excited to experiment with these APIs. Please do so, and that's a great way. If you join this program, you get a sneak peek at the latest API, what we're working on. In return, we would like for you to share feedback, but this is great because it's an opportunity for you to shape the future APIs we're going to be landing, or to improve the current APIs we have landed already. Cool. More fun. And if you're extremely excited about all of that and you really want your voice to be heard, I would like to encourage you to check this repo here. So, the mission is to make machine learning a first-class web citizen. This is a standard initiative, right? This is not a Google thing. You can see a few interesting things in there. By the way, this is a bit of unrelated, but WebMCP, if you haven't heard about it, check it out. It's quite exciting. And this is where you can really join the conversation on these APIs and help us design them. That's it for more fun, and credits to the to build this talk. I've used the Gemini CLI, which is pretty cool. It's I find myself using Gemini, like the Chat UI, which is like the ChatGPT UI, quite a lot to prep my slides. And then I was like, oh wait, there's a CLI tool, so you can stay in your CLI and use the Gemini CLI directly to whatever, just have a conversation or write some code. Try it out. It's openly available, so check it out. And I want to give also a credit to my colleague Thomas Steiner, who put together the original demos and is our expert here at Chrome on all the built-in AI APIs. So any article you read is from Thomas. I recommend you take a peek. That's it from my side. Thank you for staying alive throughout my talk. You're probably very hungry. Thank you.